Are you from Europe? Are you from the United States? Where are you from? So, why am I live? Because we did some moves. Let's take a look. Okay. So for now it looks like, as we talked last time on the live, we had that imbalance here, which I said it could well react in that imbalance. But I think this is short-term lived. Of course, we can go higher. We have this imbalance here to take out also the liquidity that's laying there from the day of the ETF launch. So we could go higher now, especially when I see this, because we see a very quick rejection from that price in the daily. They gapped up when the market opened today. So I don't really know, because yeah, it's too early to say how they move the markets, but I would assume that gaps are gaps, and they are like they are like fair value gaps or imbalances. So they couldn't really trade these prices because the market was closed on their end. So the only way they could push the price was on exchanges or as we use it. But it opens every day in a working at a working day at my time 3:30 p.m. So this is where it opened today. I mean, it's not far away. This gap can be closed without a problem. So the question is more like, are we gonna close it now and move on to the upside, or are we going to the upside, not closing the gap? That could indicate that maybe we are due for a bigger correction, more power we accumulate to break to the downside, obviously. And in that way, we could also, at the same time, close that gap. So, I mean, for now, it looks like, for now, it's Friday. So, Friday is often pump or dump. And the weekend often determines next week's interest and what people expect from the price. Switzerland, great man, great man. I love Switzerland. It's so beautiful. It's so different. Also, the how I say that, the architecture of the old houses, and it's just like cozy on another level. It's like there's heart in it. Here, everything is the same. I'm from Luxembourg, so here everything starts looking the same, and I don't like that too much. So, and I liked that everything is green in Switzerland, so that's great. A lot of cows too. Who's bringing you to my channel? When did you saw my channel the first time? Um, why do I have the XRP chart here? The bigger the chance we can with the next candle basically come down, close the gap here, and then close the candle above the trend line. If that happens, we could see further up move, at least all for a 10k Bitcoin. I always say everything is possible. Oh, you're new here. Great. Great. That's great that you interact immediately. A lot of people come into the live, but they don't really interact. You are here the first time and see that. I also speak German, French, other languages. To be honest, my English is my worst language, but um, yeah, I learned talking English by myself. Like in school, I didn't really listen a lot to the teachers when it came to languages, so I tried to pass my tests. Um, yeah, however I can. So yeah, basically my English comes from personal development and business and trading, because the best information in trading is in English. So first I learned it by listening, and then I started talking. So the channel now has 2 years, or maybe even more, a little bit more. I started it back then just to give you a quick review, and people that didn't know or that don't know why I have this channel. It's basically, in last bull run, I met a YouTuber and we directly connected. We called us on Instagram and we were talking for like non-stop 4 hours. And when we started, I think his channel was at 2,000 subscribers, and we ended the bull run with 36,000 subs on his channel. And then he said, like, after a few videos, he said, like, just make your own channel, and then I'm gonna give you viewers too. And this is how everything basically started 2.5 years ago. So this is why I have the channel, and this also indicates why I wasn't present for 2 years or during the bear market, because I called the top. I have evidence for that, and I didn't saw really because I had another business and it took a lot of focus. So I was like, now YouTube, I mean, I'm not going to be every new viewer, because the bull run didn't really even has started. So everyone that is in here now is at the right time. Maybe you missed some good entries, but other than see a pullback in the markets, maybe you are in for a long time, still not break even, and you don't want to see the pullback. Realistic, and nobody really wants it, but we all need to prepare for it, because yeah, sounds good to me. You can practice with your videos. Same here. Learned it by myself. Great, man. Yeah, I mean, here in Luxembourg, the education or the courses in English are really, really, like, I don't know, thin. There's no real material behind it, no real conversation constructions. It's all like about the basic words, and not that great. It's also the last language we learn here in English. We learn here in Luxembourg is English. So it starts at 8th grade, but we start learning in the first grade English, second grade already French. So we have more than that. I mean, it's never bad. I'm not a financial advisor, but it is never bad to diversify your holdings, which you surely have. I'm not, I always talk about Bitcoin, but I don't really like it, because I'm in the space since a long time. Those who are know that it is not the best tech available in the space. Because think about it. Like now, for 14 years, you could buy Bitcoin on exchanges, decentralized, whatsoever. But never in the history of Bitcoin, an institution could legally use the money of their clients to buy an asset, to buy Bitcoin in this case. So people think that now where the Bitcoin ETF is launched, that now they are they can buy Bitcoin, but in my opinion, they cycles. They basically can now sell their Bitcoin on the markets legally with clarity. So now they are. It's the first time in the history of Bitcoin that the banks now really can control the price however they want. I mean, the volume rate enough yet, but eventually, when they have enough market share, this will all change. And it's the first time since its existence that it is that way. So, do you remember at the beginning when people said to XRP holders, yeah, it's a banker's coin, it's a shit coin, it's a project made for the banks, etc. So every Bitcoin holder wanted, because it's more transportable whatsoever. But in my opinion, it's old technology when it comes to blockchain. It's not the most efficient. Yes, the markets basically through hodling over a long period of time, pushing the price higher. But now they basically let the banks come into the markets and they have trillions and trillions of dollars to do with the price whatever they want. So now, as I said, it's all about money. So now the bank, because invest believer in layer ones. They say the banks are going to die anyway. With CBDC, we will all have only an account, central bank. Yes, I mean, at the end, today we also all just have an account, which is really controlled by the central bank. So if tomorrow your local bank can you maybe one day I will create a Discord and we can talk about such things. But I would rather not talk about what really correspondent banking and fractional reserve banking really is, because it's a big scam and everything runs on it. So it's something very sensible to talk about. But basically the whole idea in the beginning today may not even be the real Bitcoin, the first launched white paper, So it's really hard to say what Bitcoin will do. But I believe if it is not dying, it will be worth multiple $1 million in the next, let's say, 20 years. So I'm not concerned about where the price could go of Bitcoin. It's more like people nearly for change. And the moment we scream for change is when they implement the problem, bring the solution. Always. This is how the world works. And so now we needed to create during the last 5-6 years all these problems to create the new solution, which one of the solutions for the system will be blockchain technology, decentralized ledger technology, and all that stuff. So the change is there, the change is real. And as we see now, in the long-term vision, an ETF is extremely great for crypto. But in the short term, I'm not so sure how great that really is, because as I said, now they have the complete control over the price if they wish so. If they wish so. The only I always like to for, let's say, how big these companies are, this is like peanuts what we are seeing right now. So it doesn't tell us a lot. That the needed liquidations or that the capitulation that they need to influx their money is enough. And I always say the more retail that there is in the market, the more liquidity there is to grab. So for now, let's say it's retail against the banks. So they have coordinated to see if I get it right, because not a lot of people talked about the Bitcoin bubble index. So this is something I just stumbled on once, and I was like, okay, so it makes sense that when the price is in a bull run, yo, what's up, Limitless? How are you doing? Yeah, I mean, in the future we will see. I will create a Discord, etc. If there is a little bit more people, which is not bad in Luxembourg. Here are like we are like 600,000 people here in Luxembourg, and the minority is even more clarity and a little bit less. You will be a little less fearful, because you will know where to buy, where there are potential sell areas, and where to reaccumulate, etc. So just coming back on this chart here, you can see back then in the bear market we had this negative bubble. Shows if a bubble is inflated or deflated. It's just negative bubble index. And apart from that negative bubble index, since now we didn't had any, so we were positive even in the bear market. So since we broke, I will show you that point afterwards on the chart, but here you can see we had that falling wedge and then the breakout. And after that breakout, we had a retest, okay, where the people that also were involved in the bear market before. Because once people stop making gains, they just completely lose interest in the space. And the people that stay in the space are also the people that can accumulate at the bottom and that understand where it's going. So for now, look here. When we started from the bottom and make the first pump and then came back down, there was basically FOMO in the market, because you see the bubble index was positive and came back down. And this was for the Corona crash, the COVID crash was this one here. So for now, we are still negative. So we are still, maybe the correction will not be as harsh and as crazy as people think. Because of that fact that I think there is not as much retail involved yet in the market as in previous bull runs. And don't forget, it's just Bitcoin, this one. It's not Ethereum. Because most of the people don't even, in my opinion, really invest a lot in Bitcoin. I mean, it's the first gate for everyone. But I mean, today you get introduced with Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, and all these coins. So Bitcoin is not really even the first choice anymore to be that it is how it is, you know. But still, I believe, come on, all the old guys that are buying the ETF right now, I mean, it's even worse for them. Imagine you go to BlackRock, you are a big client at BlackRock, you're really rich, and then you have someone at BlackRock calling you, yeah, we have the Bitcoin ETF launch right now, blah, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, I give you 10 million. The other says, I give you... The market doesn't tell you what to do or how to see it. It's just like, in every way you see it, there needs to be a different behavior of how you use it. Because let's say, would you invest, for example, let's say, would you invest 50% or 30% or 10% of your capital for the next 20 years into Bitcoin? I believe you wouldn't. And if you would, I also believe that I missed something, because I could not understand how someone would make an investment plan in Pepe for the next 20 years, you know. So there are different perspectives. You trade momentum, you trade narrative, and you trade or invest in utility. So maybe XRP in the last bull run didn't perform as well as a lot of different other projects, but what is sure with XRP is the money you have in it. It will be there in the next 10, 15 years, no matter the actual price of it right now or the price fluctuation in the next and past 90 days, you know? So for me, people that really want to invest in the space, in the technology on a long-term basis, other coins like Algorand, HBAR, Quant, all these different blockchains. I mean, the narrative now is on Solana too. I don't really like it. I mean, it's working. There is momentum. There is the narrative, but other than that, it's maybe a little bit cheaper than Ethereum, or it is a lot cheaper than Ethereum, but it has a lot of other things that I don't like, especially projects like Matic, Solana, they all have public keys. Okay, I don't know if you know what it is, but if, for example, a development team has public keys, that means that if basically, let's say the government comes to them and says this and this wallet, we know it's this and this guy, and we want you to freeze it or to take the money out or whatsoever, they have the public keys to access every single private key. And this is really not what I'm looking for. Because if something happens in the world, this is not the asset, your money will be safe. Which does not mean that you cannot make money with it in this bull run, you know? And that's the big difference in crypto. You have something, I don't know, I think you understand what I mean. What do you think of the bitcoins that might get dumped on the market by the US, the ones they confiscated from illegal activities? I mean, why should they dump Bitcoin? The little bit they how do I say? I believe they don't even have more than 200,000 Bitcoin, so they are not the leader of this space. So if they start to dump their shares right now, how do you want them to prevail in the next 15 to 20 years if the new world is coming? So a government that has the ability to create money with the banks, with the central banks, why should they sell gold? I mean, the United States already knows that they did a big mistake by selling their gold reserves. So I don't believe they are trying to have the same mindset this time. Yeah, it's about volume and liquidity. That's true. Because yeah, it also depends on because you said I don't believe it's about inflow and outflow. Of course, it is also about inflow and outflow, but this is not what the banks or what the system needs to survive another 30 years without collapsing. What we really need is, as he said, liquidity, you know? So basically, they could do a lot of things with a lot of these assets. I mean, let's say you can do 100 things with XRP. Maybe they will just use it for one or two or three or five purposes, you know? And for the rest, it's just there and someone will use it, but not who we think, you know? So for me, one of the biggest markets, I like to show this too, all the world's money 2022. Oh, this time I found it immediately. So I don't believe if you are not, let's say, the only way in my mind why the US government, for example, would dump their tokens is if it's not the real Bitcoin and they just bought it to dump it. But you know, Grayscale has 6, 7 times, or let's say now maybe double the amount of the US government. I mean, Grayscale, how much do they own now? They owned like over 600,000 Bitcoin. Um, now they own 512,000 Bitcoin, and they accumulate since 2000, let's say 10. Okay, accumulating, and they have 500,000 Bitcoin. Look at BlackRock. They already have 10% of Grayscale. So I believe when they dump their Bitcoin, they buy it. Everyone buys it because they hold Bitcoin since a very long time, which these other ETFs didn't. So, in my opinion, how to use the liquidity that they provide when they sell the opportunity or gives all these ETFs and institutions the opportunity to buy that liquidity that they dump on the market, you know. So look, I mean, from here on, 12,000 Bitcoin. I mean, it's a lot, okay, but we talk about institution management. So this is truly nothing, and it's just the beginning. So when I watched at the, as I said before, the liquidation charts, what am I talking about? The bubble index, I really think there is not so much to liquidate as we really think there is. And then you have the liquidation heat map, for example, that shows you exactly where people get liquidated at which prices. Here's 1 week. Okay. Okay, sound crazy. Look, I was on Discord this morning with a friend with whom I'm trading too, because I'm a day trader and not really in crypto, but more in futures, forex, gold, and stuff. And this morning we were here, and I was explaining to him the same thing, and we had this sell wall here at 42, and I said to him, because this morning these long positions were not placed yet. There were a lot less positions placed here, so which tells you that people that got liquidated along the way now are placing bids down here, or people that thought we're gonna go down further didn't place the bids yet, and now they see we go up and they place the bids. So now there's new buy side liquidity here, which is not the greatest, but what is great is that now we came from 40K today to these biggest liquidations on the heat map. So once these positions, which maybe they are right now, if they are liquidated, this could mean that if they don't further sell at these prices, that we could see a spike higher. And if that happens, these orders here will spoof to the upside, and that will make the price pump. That does not mean that I believe we are gonna go to all-time highs. It just means what I just said. None other than that. Like, it means that temporary we just have liquidated, because look, we have this small order block here, which we didn't touch yet. I just, my eyes saw that we touched it, but yeah, it was an illusion. So now we have this fair value gap here, an imbalance, which is not even partially filled. So we will most likely fill this one before we roll over. Manage to break this one. I mean, we have these highs, and then we're gonna seek that liquidity here. Come on, mate. We're gonna seek that liquidity here. Make it red. This one too. And we have just above, we have that imbalance and this imbalance. So you can see that since the launch of the ETF here, you had really just a few players pushing the price down. So an inefficiency in price just means that in this case, from here, from 45,549 to 44,608, there were just sell orders, no buy orders. So the price needs to be rebalanced. And often, before you, let's say if you would trade this one, it is very important in this case that you have a liquidity sweep before an imbalance, and potentially even what is better, to even have another order block near the imbalance, which was here. Okay, so no matter where we go here right now, you can trade this. I mean, if you are not in the trade right now, I would not touch anything for the moment. I would not short it, I would not long it. Of course, you do whatever you want, but yes. Why do I have my screen turning? Okay. So the problem with all these imbalances and stuff, I mean, it's confusing, but it just means that as long as we don't break these highs, nothing, no price action really matters. So the most important thing is, first of all, to get over this wick here. Let's take that imbalance away. This wick here. That would be the first, also this wick here, but I would prefer to take this wick. This is now the first really break of structure. So what did the market do until now from the top? So you had this base here where there was a lot of liquidity created. So if you go now, let's make a replay. Why is it not working? So let's go even maybe in the weekly. Yeah, let's do it that way. So what I showed people last time is, I just explained it to you too, is that an imbalance is interesting when you have an order block and liquidity before it. So in this case, we have this imbalance here. So we had this long rising channel, which is actually a bearish pattern, but it turned out to break to the upside. So once that happens, we saw further upside coming, and I talked about at least 43k Bitcoin on Twitter, because I knew here that imbalance, and this was plus minus the 50% of that imbalance, and I marked this high here because there was a lot of liquidity. Because you need to think about it, we had this long base here in Bitcoin. Yeah, let's take it like that, or trend line, however you want it. Okay, so we had this long awaited break, and this was the last buy candle before we rolled over, which is also an order block and an imbalance and liquidity. So that was very interesting to grab. So this was the fake ETF pump, then it came back down, and boom, the ETF got launched the same day, just in the evening, and then it dumped hard. Or it was just, yeah, Sunday, I don't know exactly. Maybe it was also here on January 2, they said it, or that was the post of the SEC on Twitter, and then it reacted immediately. Then it said it was a fake approval. Then we harmonized price action, and then here was the real announcement that it got approved. So they slipped it out earlier than they really wanted. It wasn't a fake approval. It was just someone, I believe, in their team, just wanted it approved, and then he posted it. So back to why I choose that imbalance last time is because we had that liquidity here. Oh my God. We had that liquidity here. And that was too interesting to not take. So we had liquidity to the upside, we had liquidity to the downside, and now we had the imbalance. So it even swept into the last one here, but I took the weekly because it was more obvious. And as you see, it closed the imbalance here exactly to the dot, and then it started pumping. So this is a good sign that this happened. So it just means that this dump were to liquidate, first of all these positions here. Now we closed the imbalance and pumped and got a reaction, which shows that that their basically only interest in this case was to liquidate all these longs before the approval. So now what is important is to really wait for the confirmation that we are going to go further to the upside, which would be interesting for the altcoins. So what is the dominance right now? So yeah, last time, or not last time, but in one of my lives, I explained why we would, and we were here, why we would need to, or why they most likely will take that liquidity in the dominance in the at the top before coming down. So this here is a clear rejection from the top. The candle body is bigger than the blue or green one before that. So this here just does not mean something yet, even if it's pumping that hard. I mean, this is because we have the inflows we had today. So for now, Bitcoin almost had the most movement today. That's why the dominance is going up. So usually before we break a very important level, it sweeps down under it and then pumps again. So we have now this big imbalance to fill before it re-loses in dominance. So let's see Ethereum. Would it be fair to say, good point, thank you. Would it be fair to say, my screen, that if we see 43K, we would see 50 as well? I would not say. Let me check again. Let's say, okay, if we break 43.6, let's say, if we break 43.6, we come into that imbalance here and you don't see a harsh rejection when we close it 50 to 100%. You can be almost sure that it will try to take out that liquidity here on the top. That does not mean it will continue. This is what I'm not really sure about what will happen, because we didn't have that scenario and price action build that we see this cycle. So I mean, taking that liquidity out, we also have an imbalance here and here. So it could do whatever it wants. What I like in the fact that when it goes up, even if we go down up, let's say now 60K, if we come down, we will come down less lower than if we come down right now. Okay, let's say for now we would come here to this imbalance at 20, let's say worst case 25, 26K before going up again. I would see that move coming, and I talked a lot about it in the previous lives, just to make people aware that when it happens, they should not fear, but they should prepare to buy. Because it's always when it's hard to buy, you should buy. And when it is hard to sell because you think it's going to go higher, if they talked about this one or this break, but once it happened, every single YouTuber out there talked about it just happened, we broke down, we're going to retest, and we're going to go to 30K. I mean, the most obvious thing that can happen in that case is going to 30K. But what if there is push it again down to these prices to even accumulate more, as in the XRP chart? Like, they accumulate now for 2,230 days. What do they want more? Another 5 years of accumulation. Like, at some point it's enough. Like, you maybe just missed it out, or I don't know, just send it. What are you fucking waiting for, you know? But yeah, I just don't see a lot of in comparison in percentages to like in the last bull runs. I don't believe there are already as much retail investors in the market, other than people as we are that never really left the space. So, I mean, obviously now with the ETF news, a lot that would be fair. Okay, if you zoom out on the weekly, it's consolidating before it pushes higher. At that chart. This is actually the real chart, not against the dollar, but against an equal asset. So in this case, what do we see? Let's see, here we had the first, okay. Then we had the second one. Boom, 200, which was the bull run, zack. Then we had here KKL. It didn't even really touch it. Yeah, so it for the moment it doesn't look that great. I mean, obviously. So we just tried to break structure, and which we did, but right now as Bitcoin takes dominance back, we see Ethereum not moving quite, or it's moving just a little bit, which causes here the dump. So now we would need to see if this was just the liquidity sweep of that lows that were created here in July 2022. Was it 22? Yeah. June 28th, 12 June 2022. So now the question is Bitcoin starting to take even more dominance as usual because of the institutions, which would bring us to these other imbalances here? I would wish not to see it, but what do you want to do? I mean, it is how it is. Come on. So this would be, let's say, the worst case when it comes to Ethereum BTC chart in the weekly, but could also hold this bottom here. If we hold this bottom and we break again these highs, yeah, I mean, we would need to break these highs here to really have a clear picture, because we need to retest these lows here. If we don't retest them, we don't know actually if they are holding the price. If they hold the price a second time, because here you can clearly see that these were just a few players taking out profits from Bitcoin and putting them into Ethereum. And I also believe this was like this last pump. Was it 4 hours? Where was it? Yeah, it was this one. Look, that imbalance here. No, 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 no. I said something. No, 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 no. That isn't right. When was this? Okay, so it was this pump of Ethereum, just that little pump from 2162 to 2700, which created that imbalance in the price. But for me personally, until now, Ethereum didn't really improved itself. So we need to see Ethereum moving for it not to break this low. If it breaks this low, it wouldn't be that great. Oh, now it's a different chart. Come on. Yeah, so if we break that low, you can clearly see that here are imbalance and order blocks that could be filled. If we hold this and we see a break to the upside, I mean, if this is the low, let's say the close of that imbalance would be the low, we could see a breakout that could change the trend. But yeah, I believe Ethereum will not be the light in this bull run. It will not be as last bull run, in my honest opinion, because it just multiple times proved us that it isn't really capable of what it is intending to do. For example, with the transactions, that they are not the internet of value, but that Ripple is the internet of value launch processor or something. I don't really understood the whole word he said. Wait. Maybe. Where is it? By the way, Twitter is the worst platform to get exposure to new people. It's just terrible. Twitter is so bad in reaching new people when you didn't were on Twitter posting every day in the 2021 bull run. It's just, I don't know. Here it is. Sorry, guys. About things. So, I hope that you can hear it. That's really what Ethereum is. You know, people talk a lot about things. Talk about cryptocurrency 2.0 being like the internet of value. We're not the internet of value. Ripple is the internet of value. We're an arbitrary processor for state transaction functions. I will let it play a few times so you can hear it. Talk a lot about things. Talk about cryptocurrency 2.0 being like the internet of value. We're not the internet of value. Ripple is the internet of value. We're an arbitrary processor for state transaction functions. That's really what Ethereum is. You know, people talk a lot about things. Talk about cryptocurrency 2.0 being like the internet of value. We're not the internet of value. Ripple is the internet of value. We're an arbitrary processor for state transaction functions. That's really what Ethereum is. You know, people talk a lot about things. Yes. Mostly I am in Hex, but yeah, I like the Richard coins. Yeah, Momento Mori, you heard that from the founder, you know? He just sucked the dick of Brad Garlinghouse. People are so lost, people are so blind in what is happening. Look, at that time when the ordinal started, how the Bitcoin transaction fees skyrocketed like crazy. And I was like, as expected, for those who still believe Bitcoin can handle the world's money flow, I hope now you can see it. Bitcoin maxis are wishful thinkers. Because it's just hilarious to me. For people that are multiple years in this space, they just need to see it. Everyone knows it, but they ignore it. They ignore the fact that the system is ahead of them. Look, Paul Sachs community. I make a little marketing, or look. Yes, I am in the Hex ecosystem, or let's say Richard Hart ecosystem. So here, for example, when we are now on Twitter, I can show you also that what I say today, I have proof when I tell you I called the bottom. Because, for example, here you can see that on the 13th of January 2023, I said, your opinion does not matter, fractals do. And you see, 13th, this was the 1st of January, this line. And I marked this as the bottom. And I basically showed the people that it did the same over and over again. And why should it? Why should it be different this time? Like, as if humans would have changed. No, they didn't. They are just stupid, even stupider than before. So we don't need to push the prices as low as last time for people to capitulate. So, no joke. But yeah, you can clearly see here that we had 426 days of bear market, 365. And here it is also, it's just because it is in weeks, we also had 366 days. Yeah, 66 days this time from the second top to bottom. And yeah, from that point on, it is a bull run. Once we hit the bottom, it is. So all the dumps happening in between, in most cases, will just be a correction. Yeah. Then I just reposted this one, which I had the 40K. Look, the open of the imbalance and liquidity, 43K. And this high obviously was also, I really thought at first reaction it would get it around here. But yeah, it just took out that high and then reacted. And as always, we get the news term top here at 48K. And even if we go a little bit higher, and for now we saw the dump coming. But I would not say now I'm 100% sure we're gonna go to 30K because of the fact that I believe there is not as many retail as we think there is. Yeah, and when I see this candle here, it could be the last or the before the last candle before we go down. But for now, I believe it looks quite good, in my opinion. So for now, I would say as long as we don't break that trend line, we need really to wait. You can also short this, obviously, but don't forget these fair value gaps and this liquidity here, which could be swept before we roll. And that's why I'm not really a huge fan of trading Bitcoin intraday, because let's say I want the price to do something for my portfolio, obviously. So I don't really like to short it and long it after. I just want to put money in and trade like more balanced markets, more stable markets, like gold, for example. I don't care if gold goes to 15K, and I don't care if it goes to $300, which makes me a lot less emotional in the market. Like, it's now my third bull run that I'm gonna be in. So I really prefer, when it comes to day trading and where I'm sitting at my desk a few hours a day, to really be involved in a market where I don't care at all about the price, because here even if I know now that we could sell, I would never sell it here, you know. I would just not, which would bring me not on the profit side. So when I have an asset which I'm less interested in the price, I prefer to trade that one. So here in this case, for now it looks great. I mean, we broke. We really need to see a break of this wick here, just an imbalance and order block. But once we push here above, and I would like to see it in today's candle, not tomorrow. It would be a great weekly close. Um, but what we for sure have, which is also great, is we have tried or we have rejected the bottom. So this was basically really just to take out all the shorts, all the long side liquidity, sorry. So that's a very good sign for now. So we need to see what it will do between 42 and 43.6. So just be aware that we could fail. And even if we break the highs, let's say, look, an area of inefficiency plus plus liquidity here, plus liquidity here and here, because we didn't really took that liquidity because we didn't did a candle close. So we would need a candle close for the liquidity to be taken. In this case, I believe if we go higher is to close that imbalance, take that liquidity, and take that liquidity. So this would be a much better sell area than here. With the suppression of price, last bull run, etc., etc. So with maybe the utility getting launched, it could like go until it pumps. I really don't care. Like, I'm over it. You know, for Ethereum, the same. Like, we broke structure. Finally, we broke that high. We retested it. We rejected it. We created an order block. Buy and sell liquidity here. So now we took the highs. Now we're gonna most likely take the lows and then rebalance and go higher. And if you ask, if you want to ask me where I would enter, this is something different. But yeah. Yeah, I think Limitless, before he talked about this base here, I mean, it's obvious that on the long-term perspective, there is one pump missing to fulfill the chart, you know. So let's say I start with the most basic thing. We had here the cycle top, we had the bottom, we had a second run, lower high, didn't broke the lows here, had a long sideways action, and then the pump. So here we had the same. I always show this because people don't seem to get it. It's basically the same structure that we built it, just in this case more compressed. So the bottom here, here, here. Okay, it's the same thing. So right now, if I would take here the same extension tool, it gives us a target of 28 bucks. And I don't even take this high as a measurement from, let's say, high to low, which would bring you also at the same price, plus minus. So this is 2 times the 1.618 in Confluence. So this is a long-term chart, a long-term price that I believe we will see. When? I don't want to talk about it. because I don't want to be an idiot as all these other YouTubers that for 6 months after they predicted $100 XRP need to explain to their community why they said that, and we are still at 40 cents. 2 or 3 more weeks of sideways action, in my opinion, before we pump. I mean, it's it's really possible. Like, it's really possible that we are just at the brink of an explosion in the price. This is also what I hope. But hoping is really reaccumulate and cycle. Because I'm in since a long profits, so this time will be my time to take profits. XRP gang. So what did I wanted to show you before? Okay. BlackRock and I like to show this because it really it really shows. So when people talk about an XRP that could get a valuation of $100, a coin or a token, $1,000, $10,000, $30,000, these claims always come from people calculating the best case scenario of what this technology could represent in the future. So here, for example, when we talk about the 10K XRP, this is a reason why it could attain these prices. When? I don't know, and I don't care, because, I mean, come on. Look, Ripple joins BlackRock and JP Morgan as a leading trade, as a member of the leading trade association, ISDA. What does it say here? Ripple joins the industry, blah, blah, blah. Strategic move into derivatives and blockchain integration. In TradeFi, the San Francisco-based blockchain company Ripple has joined the prestigious trade organization International Swaps and Derivative Association. So this is the biggest market that exists in the economy. And to show you that is... Here is a visualization of all the money in the world. So sport, cryptocurrency. So this was in the bear market 760 billion, which we are over that right now. It's from 2022. So the numbers are not the same today, but you can have an idea of what I want to show you. So you have the crypto market, yeah, you have military spending, Ukraine, nobody cares. The currencies, which is also the forex market, is 8 trillion. So just fiat currencies, tangible currency, what many people around the world think of as money, is worth $8 trillion. Then gold, jewelry, bars, coins, central bank, and others. Let's say now it's $15 trillion market cap. The world's billionaires, there are 2,668 billionaires in the world. The top 5, which are Musk, Bezos, Arnold, Gates, and Buffett. The central bank balance sheets, you can see here 28 trillion. The S&P 500, all these big companies together, 36 trillion. Then US versus China, gross domestic products, Jesus Christ. And then you have the global money supply, which is 48 trillion. You have the broad money, 82 trillion. You have the global stock market, which 25% is represented by the New York Stock Market Exchange, the Nasdaq, which is the technology index, and so on and so on. The global debt, which is at 300 trillion. Now I believe it's even higher. It should be at 400 to 500 trillion. $500 trillion. Imagine all this money here combined doesn't even make a little bit of our debt. Like, it's crazy how much we are in debt and how much we are inflating the debt for basically the economy to not collapse. It's just crazy. 259 trillion in residential properties, 326 trillion. The value of all the world's real estate is estimated to be $326 trillion. Agriculture, blah, 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 blah. But what I wanted to show you is this market. So the Swaps and Derivative Association. What are derivatives? It are contracts. Like smart contracts on the blockchain, these are just contracts, futures contracts, options, swaps, etc. Here, futures, forward contracts, warrant swaps, etc. So look here, you have national value of derivatives, which is all the value of the derivatives, $600 trillion. $600 trillion. This is the market Ripple is aiming for when they talk about tokenization of assets. And this is what people need to realize. And they are already a member of the ISDA. Okay? So they are already in the game of a $600 trillion market. Not talking about cross-border payments, not talking about on-demand liquidity, not talking about all these other utilities. When banks goes down, then XRP, Fragezeichen. So, let me ask you this. Does your question is, when the banks goes down, what will XRP have for utility? Like, what will be its utility if the banks go down? I mean, I don't know about which banks you are talking about, but certainly the central banks are not going to go down. Okay? Maybe your local bank will suffer a little insolvent or something, but there will always be a bank bailing them out, you know? So banks will not die. You need to realize that the money you are using to buy food is their product. You are playing in their matrix. You are playing in their game. You are a puppet of their game when you use their money. So we can do nothing about the banks, and it will never change. I mean, the system we created today is because of the brains they had yesterday. And now where we have everything, or now where everything is how it is, we want to destroy it. Obviously, it works with things like Bitcoin, but it will never really disrupt the whole system. Like, now something like tokenization of assets is enough for them, plus the liquidity they need to reconstruct the whole system. Like, they just need something, a ghost asset. Like, for example, XRP could be like ghost money. Like, you have the euro, you have the dollar, you use it to make swaps in between of these currencies. For example, Russia doesn't want to take euro or dollar for the payments for their oil or gas. They say we just want ruble. But with XRP, the problem is solved. We send the money in euro, and they get it in ruble. So we use that ledger so everybody can do their own business, basically. But what I mean with ghost money is, imagine these 15 trillion, these $50 trillion the US has in debt. How can they delete that debt? They can delete that debt in when they use an asset and they pump it in price so hard that they can basically delete all the debt. Because imagine they pump, let's say, XRP to, I say, $10,000 or $30,000, and they hold the majority of the coins. They would make so much money that they could repay the debt, you know? And our grandma and parents and children will go to the supermarket buying their groceries and not even realizing that they are using the technology. They are just buying with CBDCs or which currency will be active at that moment. For them, not really a lot will change. There will only change a lot for those people that see the truth. For the other people, there will not be a big change, you know. I mean, they don't care. The banana costed $2 5 years ago. Now you pay $4, but you still buy it and you don't ask questions. You mourn a little bit about, oh, it's expensive, but still you buy it. So nothing really changes for them. Yeah, and I believe if we target this market here, the valuation needs to be really high. And I don't believe that this could happen over 20 years, this price appreciation. I would see much rather it just spawn there overnight, let's say it like that, you know. I would not see it gradually increase in value to $30,000 if that would happen over a certain period of time. It just makes no sense. It's just like it would be a repricing of an asset. Like, yeah, XRP is now $1,000. We had this 3-year lawsuit and we have all this utility, and now we were looking in the background and we need a $500 XRP for it to be liquid enough to make everything happen that we need it for. They can just do whatever they want, you know, as they could do with Bitcoin, with all these other things. But I always tell people, like, if you have a better alternative for me than XRP that has these, let's say, that is sitting in the same rooms, having the same network, like network friends with whom they are with whom they are at the table, like the central banks, economic forum, all these guys. Like, if you give me a project that is leading the space and it's not XRP, I will sell all my XRP. Like, because it's all about what is really happening. And all these narratives out there are not as strong as the narrative of XRP and Ripple. People don't even understand that XRP is not Ripple. People don't even understand the difference. They don't even know that Ripple is a company and that XRP is a native asset of a decentralized ledger. Like, what you just explained about that really helped me understand a lot what at the moment is going on, all the corruption, and why they don't even try to hide it. Yes, they can't hide it. And there is a rule. Like, you cannot do something without saying it first. Like, they need to prepare you. They just never tell it in a way that you really get it immediately, you know? They just play around with the narratives. I mean, we all know when they say Bitcoin is trash and it's worth nothing, and you see JP Morgan buy, you clearly see that they always push the narrative in the other direction because they need that liquidity to take that positions. And this is all with unliquid assets. Bitcoin isn't liquid. Like, they could pump the price to $1 million tomorrow if they wanted to, you know? So it's not that liquid. So they can do with the price whatever they want. They can choose whichever asset they want. And I want to know which asset they are choosing, because I am not coming into a world where the product of something is like, if I want money, if I'm interested in getting rich, for example, and having a lot of money, I should also be aware that I am playing their game. I am not playing my own game. I am playing in their game. It's their chess game. And we can participate. Okay? If it's in spending money, okay, when you buy stuff, investing money, having a business, contributing to the world, everything is money. Like, money is just something you could turn everything into money. It's just, is it capped? Like, is there a limited supply to it? And is it accepted from the general public that it has value? If these two things are there, it has value and it can be money. But the thing is, in the system we are today, there is never really a cap on how much it exists, because they knew from the beginning that it is a debt inflating economy. So basically, the US dollar could forever be there, because it's the first currency that is based on its own debt. They create their own money. It never were like that. So if the economy is bad, they raise interest rates and they print new money. It's like they paying off their debt with their own created money, which we at one point said, okay, the dollar has value because, you know. But today it isn't the same anymore. If I tell you there are XY coins available, or there's I don't know, 1,000 tons of gold available in the world, and we price it at a certain value because of the demand and what is actually there as a supply, it creates a price. But once there is created more of it, it means that the price needs to go down, because now there is more supply. So more people can buy it, and if more people can buy it, and there is not directly an interest in buying it at that price, it will come down. So this is what they do since the dollar exists. And back then, I don't know exactly why they decoupled it from gold, but I believe it is because they slowly but surely emptied all their gold reserves, and they sold a lot more gold than they actually hold it, which made that they actually had, like, imagine you have 10 kilos of gold, but you sell 100 kilos to your clients. And one day they come all to you at the same time and say, I want my kilo. And then you are fucked, you know, because you sold 100 kilos on contracts, but you still just have 10 kilos in your safe, you know, so you cannot pay out everyone, you know. And this is how banks work. Like, for example, as we said before, fractional reserve banking allows the bank to if you give the bank $1, they can lend out 90 cents out of that. So if you give the bank 100K, they can take a 90K loan on your money. So they just use your deposited money to create debt. This is how banks survive and make their money. When they didn't have enough gold, they just mixed it with some copper. Yes. Back then they did it that way. And then the Rothschilds, they came and they said, why should we mix it with something else? It will still not be transportable. It will still suck because it has value. It is beautiful. But if I want to give the king in the other village, make him a payment, I need to have all these I don't know how to say all these. I mean, to transport gold, obviously, it's not working that well. So the Rothschilds, they said, okay, let's take the gold and the money from the people, or let's take the gold from the people and give them a check. So we hold their money, we hold their gold, because we know if somebody has, let's say, 100K in the bank and uses of this 100K, let's say he uses 2,000 per month, they know exactly if there is no new money coming in, how long he will have his money in the bank until there is no money left. So even because they tell you, you don't need to hold your gold with you. Give us your gold, we custody your gold, you get a check, and whenever you need money, you come to us and we give you that money that is yours. Whatever you need, you know? But at the end, they know exactly that most of the time, the most money you own will still be in their bank. Because you don't need all your capital at your proposal, you know? So they know maybe of this 10 million he has at our bank, he will only use in the next 12 months 500,000 euro, and the rest will be in our bank, in our saves, and in our, yeah. Basically, so they hold the gold, they own the gold, and you own a paper that gives you access to whatever amount of gold they hold. And this is the same with the ETF. They want your money, but they just give you a contract that says you are eligible to cash out at the same price that this asset is valued at. So they buy all the Bitcoin, they buy all the gold, and they sell you a contract. Yeah, give us your Bitcoin, give us your money. Buy iShares, for example. BlackRock owns the real Bitcoin, and the client, the customer, only owns the ETF, only owns the shares of the trust. So they never own Bitcoin, and that's the purpose. And that's not good. So we understand we want Bitcoin, we want crypto, we want the asset, we want the custody of the asset, we want to own it. We don't want shares that are correlated to a price of an asset. We want the asset, you know. It's like you go to the bank in Switzerland and you say, I want to buy gold for 10,000 bucks. And then they say, yeah, no problem, here are your shares. And you say, no, I want gold bars. I want to buy the bars, you know. And then they say, yes, we're going to make you a beautiful safe in our bank. No, I want to take the gold with me to my home. And then the discussions, they start, you know. Because their goal is to not let the gold out of the bank and just taking more money and more money and more money and selling the gold on contracts. But the gold in reality never really leaves the bank. I need to drink something. What's the time? 10 p.m. Yeah, it is. Like, money is debt. Money is created in debt. So, let's say you are a bank and I come to you and I say, I want a credit of $100,000, for example. or 100,000 Swiss franc. And you tell me, yes, it's okay. You pay, let's say, 8% interest or 5% interest on the credit, or 3% whatsoever. So the interests you pay is real money. So they give you fake money. It's basically just computer numbers. So they give you fake money. They create money out of thin air. They give you that money and you repay legit money. You know? It's crazy. Thank you, man. Thank you, Limitless. See you next time. See you next time. So yeah, if you're on the stream right now, I would really appreciate if you give a like and maybe subscribe if you like the content. It's the only thing you can do to really help my channel to grow. It costs you nothing, and I'm sure in the future this content will benefit you and will help you to make money with us in this bull run. For now on my channel, I often use my live streams, because sometimes I have like 3 hour live streams, or let's say 1 to 2 hour live streams, and people don't watch the entire live streams, which is normal. So I try to, when there are interesting moments during the live, I try to cut them and re-upload them as a video. Then even maybe if there's even like a minute where I can cut a short, I do this also. But now I am thinking about creating shorts just based on technical analysis, where I really try to make people understand where to really find an entry and how to really see price action. Because I believe once you really understand price action, you can use it in every asset class. There is no, you can use it in crypto, in forex, in stock markets. It's everywhere. It is the same. The movements, price development and price action is always the same, no matter the market. The only thing that changes is velocity, liquidity, and volatility. This is the only big difference. Already done. I will call it a night also. Thank you very much. You did a great stream. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That said, I think then I will also turn it off, and then maybe tomorrow or Sunday I will be back live. So if you have some questions in mind, hold them in mind until next stream, and then we're gonna talk about it. And next time I will also try to make more technical analysis on altcoins. So write a few altcoins on your sheet, and then next time we're gonna go over 10-15 pairs and see what we can find for buying zones or next opportunities. That being said, I wish you all a great night. I wish you a great weekend, and let's fucking go. Bye bye.